Hello my good friends, welcome to the channel Digimon Explained. My name is Jesse and this video will be a very special video. Let me first give you the context of why it will be special. As the Digimon Conversation series reached over 100 videos, normally I was going to make a 100th video special. However, as I wasn't always correct with the numbering of the videos, I realized that we are already over the 100 or so Digimon Conversation videos. My bad, I'm truly sorry for that. Now, what will the subject of this video be and why is it so special? Well, we are going to be talking about the Millenniummon Digivolution line. Millenniummon and its line being arguably the strongest Digivolution line in existence, or at the very least, top 3 if I were forced to make a rough estimate. We'll be talking about the background story of this line, the power it displays or could display, and the potential danger for the Digimon universe. So please stay tuned for that, cause I'll be reading your opinions in the comment section with the biggest of pleasures. I'd like to warn you already that Millenniummon as a Digimon and its Digivolution line are quite complicated, so I'm hoping this video will give you more clarity about the potential and the depth behind this Digivolution line. And just to help you understand it much better, I will be using examples of the manga, the anime, and some theories. Maybe to challenge you, let me suggest that you subscribe already, and if this video is not at all to your liking, which will surprise me because I will really go deep, then I will accept your unsub. So if you have subscribed already, let us finally get into it. There is a reason why I say that Millenniummon is probably by far one of the most powerful Digimon in existence, if not the most powerful in existence. I say that because Millenniummon is a combination of so many Digimon. So let us first get to the component Digimon which gave birth to Millenniummon. At the one side we have the machine Digimon called Machinedramon, a Digimon who has been called the digital world's strongest Digimon in the past, and with good reason. It is a machine Digimon that was built by synthesizing the parts of many cyborg Digimon. To give the details, Machinedramon has Megadramon's helmet and right claw, Metal Tyrannomon's jaw and chest circuits, 2 of Metal Maimon's Psycho Blasters, Metal Greymon's left claw and chest plates, and Andramon's shoulder pads. This machine Digimon might not be a DNA Digivolution, so the power-up won't be working the same as a typical fusion. However, it is said that its power is at the level that would overwhelm other Digimon. On top of that, it possesses an intellect which boasts incomparable throughput. Throughput referring to the amount of data passing through a system or process. Another very important detail of Machinedramon is that it was planted a program containing evil intentions within the Digicore at the center of its body. The Digicore is the controlling organ of a Digimon that is said to be located in the center of a Digimon's body. Its function corresponds to the hearts and brains of creatures from the real world, and it is analog to the soul of a Digimon. In the case of Machinedramon, its malice-filled Digicore is supplied with basically infinite power, so the potential for carnage and total destruction is gravely elevated with this Digimon. Just in case we did talk about Machinedramon in its own video, the link towards it is in the description box. Then we have Kimeramon, who is the second and final component Digimon of Millenniummon, and who is yet another composition Digimon like Machinedramon. But in contrast to Machinedramon, who is synthesized from the metal parts of several varieties of Digimon, Kimeramon is combined from the organic parts of many other Digimon. It has the head of Kabuterimon, the eyes and hairs of Metal Greymon, the body and lower jaw of Greymon, the wings of Airdramon, the top wings of Angemon, the arms of Devimon, the left arm of Kuwagamon, the right arm of Skullgreymon, the legs of Garurumon, and the tail of Monochromon. While Kimeramon wasn't implanted a program to make it evil, still there is one thing that is understood with it: it was born with a terrifying combat instinct. It is nothing but a powerful force for destruction, and it has been proven multiple times that it cannot be controlled. We also spoke about Kimeramon separately in its own video, the link towards it is in the description box. Both Kimeramon and Machinedramon may not be your typical DNA Digivolution, as they are both Composite Digimon or Chimera Digimon if you please. However, while they are in and on their own very powerful, they still are a combination of many Digimon, meaning that they are an aggregation of various data coming from many other Digimon who are at least at the champion level. So when they both merge their bodies into one, they will become Millenniummon, an enormous Digimon reaching the heights of about 2,600 feet or more or less 800 meters. As the combination of Kimeramon and Machinedramon, it still retains most of Kimeramon's chimeric Digimon parts, albeit with a darker color scheme. Its wings and tail are replaced by Machinedramon's aura, which visibly retains its psychoblasters. And Millenniummon, being about 800 meters or 2,600 feet, just try to imagine a blast coming from both its cannons. How big would that blast be? How much destruction could it cause? How many Digimon or creatures or buildings could simply be caught in the line of fire and be destroyed? It is very important that we stand still on Millenniummon's name. A millennium is in fact a period of 1,000 years. 1,000 years is a lot in terms of time, and time is something Millenniummon not only has but also controls in multiple ways. To be honest, the way Millenniummon handles itself and time shows that it actually reached not only a point of being near impossible to defeat, but also near immortal. Let me tell you more about how it controls time. Its means of offense, aside of using the two cannons on its back, goes beyond whatever Digimon we have discussed so far can do, even if there are a few strong exceptions out there. Millenniummon can literally create a pocket dimension with compressed time and trap an opponent there for an eternity, or, if it so wishes, it can destroy said pocket dimension along with anything that found itself within. This Digimon, with just this means of attacking, is abnormally strong. In fact, its power is so great that the digital world itself became warped and twisted just because of it being alive, just because of it being born. And not only is it that powerful, but again, defeating it is close to impossible because this Digimon came closest to immortality. Or rather, it will always find a way to recreate a body of its own and cause terror. Let me prove my point by taking you to a flashback in Digimon Season 2. When Ken Ichijouji was warped for the first time inside the digital world, he had to team up with not only his partner Wormmon, but also with another fellow tamer named Ryo Akiyama in order to fight what I like to call a version of Millenniummon. I say version because, chronologically speaking, the times he came back after that fight, it somehow appeared stronger and more devastating, or sometimes weaker. Anyway, when Millenniummon was defeated, it forced out pieces of its data in the form of dark spores. The dark spores being a sinister device that slowly drives its human host evil while increasing their intelligence and athletic abilities. Its data turned into the spore and attempted to bury itself in Ryo Akiyama per the Digimon's will. However, because of Ken shoving Ryo away, the spore instead buried itself into Ken's neck, exerting its influence on him. The dark spore caused Ken to change completely. He went from being a sweet, polite and courteous young man to a cold, cruel and sadistic person who enjoys nothing more than causing pain to Digimon and making them suffer for his amusement. That's how it gained its Digimon Emperor persona, which we have discussed entirely in a separate video. The link towards it is in the description box. Maybe a little side note, Demon itself, who is one of the 7 great demon lords, was very interested to obtain the same dark spores on Ken for reasons that were undisclosed. Demon, a Digimon that was too powerful to defeat and had to be sealed away in the dark ocean, which literally made it laugh. Why it wanted the dark spores is left unknown. My theory is that it had an idea of the function, or rather who it came from. My theory is that it knew that with the dark spores it could either be in the possession of incredible powers, or maybe it knew that it would be able to revive Millenniummon and hopefully tame its power and use it for its own end. And its way of laughing, once sent in the dark ocean, might be interpreted as Demon being aware that the Digidestined are simply delaying the inevitable, that Millenniummon is going to be revived one way or another. Anyway, Ken Ichijouji, in his Digimon Emperor persona and fully controlled by the Dark Spores, used the data of many Digimon to create Kimeramon to become his servant and to help him obliterate the chosen children. By the time he realized that he didn't have control over this monster, multiple fights ensued. Eventually, Kimeramon got defeated, but it wasn't killed, it wasn't destroyed. A dying Kimeramon, presumably the same one of Digimon Season 2, who was created by the Digimon Emperor, somehow found its way to a Machinedramon and they ended up fusing to become Millenniummon. This story alone makes of Millenniummon a paradox itself, as it was created by the fusion between Machinedramon and Kimeramon, but Kimeramon wouldn't exist if Ken wasn't infected by the dark spore that Millenniummon hit him with, basically making Millenniummon its own creator. Which gives me an extra reason to believe it is near immortal and can always appear somewhere in the various different Digimon eras. So Millenniummon has at least one way to revive itself after death. I gave you the example of the dark spores, which not only managed to completely dominate the thoughts and actions of a person, but which also managed to attract powerful villains like Demon. But this was just one way of Millenniummon being capable of reviving itself. In the game Digimon Re-Arise, we were given an example of how Millenniummon can be revived via third parties. Sure, some may say that games aren't canon, but let me say it like that, it's Digimon we're talking about. There are Digimon like MASTEMON'S, for example, who began in games and became important Digimon within Digimon stories that so happens to be considered as canon. And I will be able to link Digimon Re-Arise's story to the canon world. Anyway, at some point in the past, a woman got lost in the digital world, and she heard rumors about a group of Digimon who intended to open a portal to another world. This group was formed by diverse Veidmon, who wanted to open a portal not to the human world, but a world of darkness, and part of that ritual was to revive Millenniummon. The ritual ended up going wrong without Millenniummon being able to fully manifest itself, but still, it shows that its data is always ready to be revived somehow. I also like that in this continuity it wasn't explicitly stated that Millenniummon was inside the dark area, that jet black abyssal graveyard of deleted data, the place to which Digimon are normally transmitted when their lifespan finishes or when they are defeated in battle. It's from there that a Digimon would either be reset back into a Digi-Egg and be brought back to the surface world if their data was good. If they were evil, the data, or rather the Digimon, will be imprisoned in the eternal darkness. I can't ever recall reading that Millenniummon ever got sealed inside the dark area after it was destroyed, which wouldn't be much of a surprise though. Digimon already managed to escape the dark area. Think of the story of Digimon Chronicle X, where the sealed Digimon attempted to break out of the dark area. So I don't believe that that place would be suitable to contain Millenniummon. Anyway, let me continue the story of Digimon Re-Arise. The Veidmon group who tried to revive Millenniummon was in the past. The story in Digimon Re-Arise continued but in the present time, a time which takes place at the same time as the digital world who began to collapse from the actions of the digital life form known as the spirals. There are digital life forms that originated as fragments of data which were generated by the rifts between the real and the digital world, spontaneously materializing in both. In that period of the digital world heading for a collapse, Lucimon itself tries to revive the evil king after having persuaded Veidmon to reveal where the ancient ritual took place. And Lucimon succeeded to initiate the ritual upon finding the point where Millenniummon's essence was strongest, causing Millenniummon to manifest but slowly as the portal was being slowed down by Mastemon. Mastemon, said to be an angel who also possesses some form of space-time abilities, as it can create portals by fusing the energies of light and darkness. We talked about it in its own video, the link of it is in the description box. Lucimon said to need Millenniummon in order to fulfill its ambition to return to the past and recreate the world in its own way. but for that it needed Millenniummon to assume its final world-destroying form, a form we are going to be discussing but not yet. First, I need to tell you more about another one of Millenniummon's forms, namely that of Moon Millenniumon, also considered a wicked god type of Digimon. It is said that Moon Millenniumon is a soul Digimon that exists within Millenniummon's inner world. In fact, you could say that Millenniummon exists of both body and spirit, and as a result of Millenniummon's dark spirit becoming this ghost-like Digimon, it does not really possess a fixed form. Also, although it often takes the shape of a crystal, it seems that the hatred and anger it feels against those who oppose it cause it to change shape. Moon Millenniumon is certainly not as powerful as its Millenniummon variant, meaning that it does not really possess space-time capabilities. However, it did come with its own tricks and perks. Just the fact that it is a soul and does not have substance means that it is immune to physical attacks. On the other hand, Moon Millenniumon can hit others by, for example, performing an incorporeal attack that is said to chop up the opposing Digimon's spirit. It can fire powerful energy beams, and it can use a powerful flash to blind the enemy. The most interesting capacity it has is that of transferring parts of its energy to others, making them stronger, but also in some cases corrupting them. The Digimon Adventure series gave us many such examples. A fallen angel Digimon named Devimon was in the possession of a dark crystal which contained parts of Moon Millenniumon's spirit, and with that it was capable of digivolving the champion Digimon Skull Knightmon into the ultimate Digimon Axe Knightmon, a Digimon that is very difficult to defeat when fighting fairly against, and a Digimon who is capable of using any means necessary to achieve its goals, even if it must get its hands dirty or betray its own comrades. Moon Millenniummon's silhouette only first appeared within the crystal to forcibly evolve Devimon into Neo Devimon, an ultimate version of Devimon who was artificially strengthened but also completely restrained, even as far as its own will, and then into Dawn Devimon, a Digimon who took in negative data to its limit in order to gain this form, a form where its mental state is between normal and abnormal. This was just with a crystal that contained but a part of Moon Millenniummon's spirit, and the crystal was meant to be used for a sacrificial ritual in order to resurrect Millenniummon. The largest dark crystal, which was named Faga, was located in the sealed grounds and guarded by several Vaidmon who were Millenniummon's worshippers and who resided there. And I like that I used the example of Vaidmon being a lord of ritual in the game Digimon Re-Arise, and we now have an example of Vaidmon in the Digimon series, namely Digimon Adventure, who also acts as a ritual lord. After Devimon's destruction, Vaidmon repurposed its research to use black lightnings to resurrect Millenniummon. The black lightning wasn't just a natural phenomena, but was yet another extension of Millenniummon's power, as I like to say. So, while it may not yet have physical form, it is still capable of exerting power, or at least have some influence, to at least have a way to still manipulate events. And an interesting property of that black lightning is that it is capable of powering up those who are hit with it. Now, because of the dark crystals, the black lightning began to strike the Eternal Continent, sending data stolen from the internet to the dark crystals, which directed forward to Faga, the largest crystal, so it can be used for the creation of a new body for Millenniummon. Once that happened, once enough data was stored in the crystal, Moon Millenniummon remained inside the Faga crystal, and the first stage of its revival was complete. Millenniummon had yet another worshipper who worked along Vaidmon. I'm talking about Sakakumon, otherwise known as Sephirothmon, a very important Digimon within the Digimon universe that I have yet to discuss separately. Looking forward to that. Sakakumon's role was that of capturing other Digimon and copying their data for Millenniummon's rebirth. It had provided the Vaidmon with data of Andromon, Metal Tyrannomon, Metal Greymon, Megadramon, and Metal Maimon to build Machinedramon successfully. In a clash, Machinedramon was defeated, but its remaining data became one with the dark miasma of the Cloud Continent and transformed into dark clouds with black lightnings. Just in case, and just for your information, Miasma is a type of dark mist born from negative emotions that brims with evil and can corrode or disintegrate data in high concentrations. Crossing miasma is impossible for normal humans or Digimon, and Digimon who are victims of it can get corrupted and dark Digivolution can be triggered. A Digivolution making a Digimon change into a typically more powerful version, but also a more dangerous, aggressive and uncontrollable version. So, Machinedраmon's remaining data became one with the dark miasma and transformed into dark clouds with black lightnings, which digivolved Sakakumon into a white and slightly deformed version of Kimeramon. The crystal called Vaga then absorbed Kimeramon inside and completed the fusion process. The crystal shattered and exploded, releasing a fully reborn Millenniumon into the digital world. Understand this. To defeat Moon Millenniumon, one must first defeat Millenniumon, its true form, but it's likely that there are virtually no Digimon who are up to the task. And even if Millenniumon is somehow defeated, it is said that Moon Millenniumon will separate from its now dead physical form and be revived throughout time and space. So there is already so much that we have been able to say about both Millenniumon and Moon Millenniumon. We know that they have at least two ways to be revived, with dark spores and with crystals, and yet we are not entirely done. Remember the Digimon Re-Arise storyline I used as an example, where Lucimon needed Millenniumon to digivolve into its final world-destroying form. Well, that form is called Zeed Millenniummon, a Digimon so huge the Digimon Real Size comparison website can't even render anything from it. Zeed Millenniummon flies freely between space and time and is seen as a king of evil that is still trying to destroy all eras and worlds. And to be fair, it does have the means to do that. As the strongest Millenniummon variant, it can consign hostile opponents to oblivion across space and time, and so far, no one who has been brushed off by this technique has returned alive from space and time. It can fire 2 atomic rays from its mouth that destroys everything in their path. It can still create pocket dimensions with compressed time to trap the opponent in there for an eternity, and it can also collapse the entire dimension it created. In Digimon Adventure, a bandless Zeed Millenniummon appeared in a flashback. It appeared in the past during the war between the Holy Digimon and the Dark Digimon. Mind you that Zeed Millenniummon could not be controlled by Dark Digimon due to its power, which is what Lucimon hoped for in the storyline in Digimon Re-Arise, but a Digimon with such powers simply cannot be controlled. In that flashback, after Zeed Millenniummon's defeat, several fragments of its body fell onto the Infinity Continent, taking the form of those same crystals that also came into the possession of Devimon and Vaidmon. The same crystals that can make a Digimon digivolve just thanks to its powers, and also crystals which can take on physical forms like that of a marine Devimon. Zeed Millenniummon, just like Millenniummon, is one of those rare cases of Digimon who, instead of becoming a Digi-Egg after defeat, it will instead be reborn from within the corpse of its data. There are, however, some questions about how Millenniummon or Moon Millenniumon end up digivolving into Zeed Millenniummon. In Digimon Adventure, it was only after Millenniummon was killed that its soul managed to survive to evolve into Zeed Millenniummon, with its immeasurable size and with the bands it did not have in the flashback, as a last attempt to destroy the digital world. So as the theory says, it's only when Millenniummon dies and that the dark soul it possessed is reborn that it can transcend and become Zeed Millenniummon. So in a way, we are talking about death evolution, which is a digivolution triggered by the death of a Digimon. Usually, the Digimon would be reborn as an undead or a ghost type Digimon, but in this case, we're talking about a Digimon being a god that was reborn as a god. For the bands of Digicode which wrap around Zeed Millenniummon, it is said that they are like chains which suppress its abilities, but it is unknown who could cast such a spell on it. Interestingly, the code and its bands either lead to the original web address for Digimon Web, even if that website is not active anymore, and when Zeed Millenniummon appeared in Digimon Ghost Game, the bands instead point to the current web address for Digimon Web. It's a bit hard to interpret the significance of the website linked to the code written on the bands which restricts Zeed Millenniumon's power. According to some, it is a sort of meta joke to say that Bandai is the one who sealed its power. Some continued by claiming an entity that would be powerful enough to restrict such powerful Digimon would be none other than Yggdrasil itself, the mysterious host computer said to rule over all of the digital world on one server of the network, and an entity so powerful that it can, if so needed, reboot the entirety of the digital world. It could certainly be an interesting candidate, however, it is foretold that if Zeed Millenniumon is released from this spell, it will rain unfathomable destruction upon the digital world, which prompts me to stop a little bit to try and gauge how powerful it could really be if not restrained by anything. We're going to discuss its strength at the end of the video. I just need to make a quick little stop on two important stories related to Zeed Millenniumon. And before I get into it, I must say the following. With a Digimon like Zeed Millenniumon, who is a prominent space-time user, it's very important to be aware of the Digimon Multiverse, and it's important to understand how a timeline is or is not connected to one another. On Reddit I found a map concerning the Digimon Multiverse, and I must say that it is quite big. And from the comments I quickly understood that there are still a few things missing. But what I like about this map is that it included the anime, comics, drama CDs, games, mangas, manhwa, light novels and movies. All of them are connected to an extent. All of them are considered canon in their respective ways, and together they form the Digimon Multiverse. The link towards this map can be found in the description box. The way Zeed Millenniumon works is that there is always a way for it to either travel from one universe to the other, or there are always ways to bring it to life, either via rituals or by experiments, or because Zeed Millenniumon left parts of itself in the form of data in a particular timeline, even if some timelines might not necessarily have prior records concerning this Digimon. Meaning that, in a way, Millenniumon is kind of inevitable. That's why I find it very important to stand still on ENIAC's description of Millenniumon in the game Digimon Tamer's Brave Tamer, and on the Digimon comic named Ryo's Story, which is also based on the story of the game Digimon Tamer's Brave Tamer. ENIAC is an acronym for Electrical Numerical Integrator and Computer, and is in fact the first computer who laid down the foundations of the digital world. In a way, it shaped the digital world, not created per se, but shaped. And because of its unique nature, it exists in multiple universes at once. A quick comparison, the other host computer named Yggdrasil is relatively recent in the Digimon mythos, but it is implied that ENIAC came first chronologically speaking. ENIAC is the one who told Ryo Akiyama about the existence of multiple digital worlds and Earth, and explained how Millenniumon was desperate to conquer them all. And the whole point for the summoning of our young tamer here was to counter the threat of Millenniumon. ENIAC is shown to possess gates that permit travel between different universes, but only uses them to fight Millenniumon's offensive, who proved to be too strong. So the host computer had to rely on Ryo and his partner MONODRAMON, who we explained in its own video. The link of it is also in the description box. When Ryo and MONODRAMON were sent to the future to face Moon Millenniumon, there was simply no way of defeating it. So MONODRAMON forced a DNA digivolution between itself and Zeed Millenniumon, which made MONODRAMON digivolve into Cyberdramon. And for safety measures, Cyberdramon and Ryo ended up on an alternate Earth where Digimon was simply a TV cartoon and a card game. But that was only for a certain time, as the part of Cyberdramon that was Zeed Millenniumon made it hard to control, so they returned to the digital world. But just knowing that there is a part inside Cyberdramon that is Zeed Millenniumon, how long would it take before Zeed Millenniumon finds another way to get back to its usual form? And how long will Cyberdramon be able to remain in control before its actions are going to result into the rebirth of Zeed Millenniumon, as that is what always ends up happening. So, in one timeline we have ENIAC who prophesied the coming of Zeed Millenniumon. There is, however, another timeline where homeostasis had a similar prophecy. To give you a better idea, I'll be taking you to the Digimon Cross Wars manga. Homeostasis is a digital entity meant to take care of the digital world after Yggdrasil had gone berserk in the past and attempted to destroy the human world. So homeostasis was created as a response to that, to work as Yggdrasil's successor and to be a more calm and protective god. Homeostasis predicted based on the data from scanning the digital world that a two-headed dragon will come and destroy both the real worlds and the digital worlds. That prediction came true when Shademon, an unidentified Digimon with no substance that haunts the shadows of both humans and Digimon, first digifused with Nene Amano. Nene Amano herself was quite a notorious person as she used the Darkness Loader to combine many different Digimon into both Machinedramon and Kimeramon before digi-crossing the two into Millenniummon. However, and this is very important to know, Dark Knightmon acknowledged the evil mastermind known as Millenniummon from the past that ruled the digital world, and it also said that this reincarnation lacked any sort of intelligence or cunning unlike the primeval one. Anyway, when Shademon in its Nene Amano version forced a digi-cross between Millenniummon and Dark Knightmon, Zeed Millenniumon was created. The beast started absorbing all data around it and assimilated it with its own body, proving to be practically undefeatable from the outside, as all attacks were ineffective. It was, however, defeated from the inside out, as those who were absorbed by it managed to undo the Digi-Cross and destroy this version of Zeed Millenniumon. To finish this long video, I wanted to know how powerful Zeed Millenniumon truly is, because there are quite a few forums with long debates and it's quite hard to come to a conclusion. So what I'm going to do first is sum up what I have found that Millenniumon in the entirety of its Digivolution line has done or potentially can do, just to help you get a grasp of its capabilities. Millenniumon and the other members of its line are known to have done the following and are known to potentially do the following: bend time and space, control gravity, suck in digital matter, rule the entire Digiverse, defeat the Royal Knights, the Digimon Sovereigns and the Three Great Angels, absorbed multiple zones and universes, create corrupted copies of protagonists from across the Digimon series, create pocket dimensions to trap opponents and collapse that dimension, create artificial Digimon called VR Digimon who are more powerful than the original selves, regenerate and multiply infinitely, turn others like humans into stone, destroy the soul of a person or a Digimon, conquered the future of the multiverse and covered it in chaos, create timelines, seal the universe and possibly other Digimon, destroy life and death, absorb any type of attack and turn it into energy, use Time Destroyer to restart a battle, and send people to any part of time. I am quite sure I am missing a few, but despite all of these feats, it would appear that some do not exactly see Millenniumon as the most powerful Digimon. I went on a Reddit page to see what people have written so far. I made a combination of the comments I found there to give you a bit of a picture concerning the power potential of this wicked god, while also including those aspects that must be taken into account. Here I quote: Zeed Millenniumon has almost everything that other strong Digimon have. It has complete mastery over space and time. It has atomic breath and has a very menacing bio. Combine this with the fact that everything it can do is powerful while chained and restricted makes us wonder what he'd be capable of with no restrictions. Any Digimon can be any amounts of powerful, so any Digimon has the potential to be infinitely strong, fast, smart and durable, but every Digimon has unique abilities only they can do. And only Zeed Millenniumon and the other Millenniumon evolutions have an ability that create and destroy dimensions and the ability to control time. So if all Digimon had the same stats, Zeed Millenniumon would still have the most powerful abilities. But Zeed Millenniumon cannot reset the digital world's entire multiverse or shape it to its will. In the Ryo Akiyama story, it needed to travel to an original world that branched out other digital worlds and then destroy it. And to do that, it needed to fight against 2 host computers and had to use a really big army to do that. Zeed Millenniumon is strong, but we cannot overestimate its capabilities. Sure, it can freely travel between space and time, but not every Zeed Millenniumon can do that. In fact, the Zeed Millenniumon from the Digimon WonderSwan games show intelligence, while other Zeed Millenniumon are just mindless monsters. Personally, I love Zeed Millenniumon, and its potential to be the strongest is so interesting, but the franchise really likes to either overuse it or put it into easily beatable scenarios that I feel negate the full potential it has. Zeed Millenniumon did lose to rookies after all, 3 times so far. But to finish, if you go by the reference book, Zeed Millenniumon should basically just be about able to body like 98% of all Digimon with ease. A very small amount of Digimon have about the same level if not higher. However, show-wise and game-wise, Zeed Millenniumon is probably the Digimon to take the nerve bat the hardest, which doesn't do it any glory for what they describe about it. I think the best way to see how powerful it is by paying attention to the manga, where it took infusing it from the inside out to stop it. Digimon power scaling in general is a chaotic blob that is constantly changing from show to game, or even within themselves. I'd take any tier list with a grain of salt unless it lists what specific version is being used." Unquote. Obviously there is this ongoing debate to fully grasp how powerful Zeed Millenniumon is. And the debates are likely to remain ongoing as even the Digimon developers aren't aligned in terms of Zeed Millenniumon's strength. That's why I said at the beginning that there are multiple versions of it in existence, whether you look at the anime or the manga or the video games or whatever media is out there. But in all cases, this is the story behind the Millenniumon Digivolution line. A long video, and yet I am more than certain that I have missed other parts, if not many parts. But I hope that you did enjoy this special. This line is very complicated to tackle because of its many appearances across the various timelines, because of the various versions of it in existence, etc. But I hope that this video at least helps in understanding the whole concept behind it. I hope that it sort of sums up properly what the potential of this Digimon is, what it can mean in terms of threat or in terms of story, and more importantly, that the Digimon multiverse is real and it is huge. And Millenniumon must be the only Digimon so far that has shown the ambition to rule it all. I still have many questions concerning Millenniumon, concerning the Digimon multiverse, but my friends, if I do that we could easily go to a 1-hour video and I can't do that to all of you. So I will ask you to please share your opinions in the comment section and be as elaborate as possible. And don't forget that there are many links to sources I have used in the comment section. I will also ask you the following. If you believe that this video was well done, then please subscribe if you haven't already. I admit I did say that you could unsubscribe if my way of presenting wasn't any good, so you can also feel free to do that. But a sub for all this work is greatly appreciated as it helps the channel and will give me the necessary boost to continue going as deep as I did here. And let me tell you that there are still many Digimon to discuss. Heck, there is even this new Digimon named Genjunshu, the fusion between Metal Garurumon and Cherubimon. It's totally new. They will all be discussed in great details in this channel, so please guys make sure to subscribe for it. If you guys are new, know that all Digimon videos are placed in the various Digimon playlists, which are always updated, that way you can catch up to newer and older videos.